The hospital room was silent in the way only death can make it. Machines that had screamed moments ago now gave off one long, flat, merciless tone. Doctors stepped back. Nurses lowered their heads. One of the most powerful men in the city, a billionaire CEO, feared, respected, envied, was officially gone. His family cried, his board members whispered about inheritance, and the world outside kept moving, unaware that a giant had fallen. But just as the sheet was about to be pulled over his face, a trembling voice broke the silence. A pregnant maid, dressed in a worn uniform, rushed forward, clutching a small bundle of strange green herbs in her hand. "Please, don't let him go yet," she cried. The doctors scoffed. Security moved toward her. But seconds later, something happened that would shake the hospital, the city, and every person who ever believed miracles were impossible. And what no one knew was that this poor maid carried a secret tied to the CEO's past, a secret that would change everything. Stay with this story, because what happens next will remind you that kindness never dies, and miracles sometimes wear the face of the forgotten. Daniel Whitmore was the kind of man newspapers called self-made, though the word never captured the loneliness behind his success. He built empires from nothing, bought skyscrapers like others bought shoes, and could make markets rise or fall with a single decision. But behind the polished interviews and tailored suits was a man whose heart had grown colder with each deal he closed. Years ago, when he was young and struggling, Daniel had been kind. He once shared his last meal with a homeless woman outside a train station. He once paid a hospital bill for a stranger, but wealth came fast, and compassion faded slowly, replaced by pressure, competition, and pride. Now, at 56, he lay in the most expensive hospital suite money could buy, surrounded by machines worth more than houses. A sudden cardiac collapse had struck him during a board meeting. His heart had simply stopped. Doctors fought for over an hour. Defibrillators shocked his body again and again. Medications flowed through IV lines. Specialists were called in, but nothing worked. Finally, the lead surgeon removed his gloves and said the words no family is ever ready to hear. Time of death. Outside the room, executives already discussed the future of the company. Some cried. Some secretly felt relief. The world of power never stops turning. In the hospital hallway, unnoticed, a young maid named Lila stood frozen, her cleaning cart beside her. She was 7 months pregnant, her face pale from both exhaustion and fear. She had been cleaning the VIP floor when she overheard everything. But Lila wasn't just a cleaner. She was the daughter of a village healer. Growing up, she had watched her mother treat the sick with herbs when hospitals were too far and money didn't exist. She knew plants that calmed fevers, leaves that stopped bleeding, roots that strengthened the heart. And Daniel Whitmore once saved her life. Years ago, when Lila was a starving teenager in the city, she had fainted on the street. People stepped around her, cars honked. But one man stopped, a younger Daniel. He had rushed her to a clinic and paid for her treatment without asking her name. She never forgot his face. When she heard he was dead, something inside her refused to accept it. She ran to the small cloth pouch she always carried, herbs her mother had mailed from their village for emergencies. Her hands shook. Her mind screamed that this was foolish. These were trained doctors. This was a billionaire. She was just a maid. But gratitude is stronger than fear. She burst into the room just as they were about to cover his face. "Please, just 1 minute," she begged. The doctors were furious. Security reached for her. But Daniel's sister, drowning in grief, shouted, "Let her try. We've lost him anyway." With trembling fingers, Lila crushed the green herb, releasing a sharp, earthy scent. She placed it under his tongue and rubbed another paste over his chest, right above his heart, whispering a prayer her mother taught her. Seconds passed. Nothing. Then the heart monitor gave a tiny blip. Everyone froze. Another blip. Then a weak, unsteady rhythm began to draw itself across the screen. A nurse gasped. A doctor checked his pulse. "He has a heartbeat." The room exploded into chaos and orders, disbelief, tears, shouting. But in the middle of it all, Lila collapsed into a chair, crying, holding her pregnant belly, whispering, "Thank you, thank you." Because she knew this wasn't just medicine. This was grace returning to the man who once showed her mercy. Daniel woke up 2 days later to the sound of a monitor beeping steadily beside him. His chest hurt. His throat was dry, but he was alive. And the first thing he saw was a young woman sleeping in a chair, one hand resting protectively on her round belly. When he learned what happened, he didn't speak for a long time. A billionaire saved by a maid, a man of science brought back by a village herb, a life returned by someone society barely noticed. "Bring her to me," he said softly. Lila was terrified. She thought she would be scolded, maybe fired. But when she entered his room, Daniel tried to sit up, tears in his eyes. "You are the girl from the street," he whispered. She nodded, crying. That day, Daniel made decisions that shocked the business world. He stepped down as CEO. He created a foundation funding hospitals in poor villages, combining modern medicine with traditional healing research. He paid for Lila's home, her medical care, and her child's future education. But more than money, he gave her respect. At the foundation's opening ceremony, Daniel spoke to the crowd, his voice no longer the cold voice of a tycoon, but the humbled voice of a man given a second chance. "I had everything," he said, "but it took a poor pregnant woman to remind me what truly saves a life: kindness." Lila stood beside him, holding her newborn son. And the story spread, not about a billionaire who survived death, but about a forgotten woman whose gratitude became a miracle. Because sometimes, the people we think are small carry the power to change destinies. And sometimes the life you save today is the one that saves you tomorrow.